In this episode of Star Hopping with Kissimmee Park Observatory, we'll look at the Ophiuchus region and show you how to find these beautiful deep sky objects. Messier 10, Messier 12, and Messier 4. All right, let's go star hopping. Hey, hello, hi, and welcome to episode 31 of Star Hopping with Kissimmee Park Observatory. I'm Dave Hearn, and I'm absolutely jubilant to be your host. In this series of programs, we'll show you the most beautiful sights in the night sky and explain exactly how to find them with your binoculars or your telescope. Well, as I mentioned in last week's episode, I'll be starting to get ahead of myself for the next 2 months to make sure you have all the star hopping methods for finding lots of great objects while we're on our hiatus this summer. If you haven't heard about our new video series coming in July, then stay tuned to get the lowdown at the end of this episode. So the eastern sky is fairly thick with globular clusters at this time of year. In episode 25 of Star Hopping, we checked out 3 great globulars, M13, M92, and M5, and they're all now well up into the eastern sky. Below them lie many more, but there are at least 3 nice ones you really need to see. None of these are as grand as M13, but they're all very nice globs in their own right. Several of these globulars lie in the large constellation of Ophiuchus, the serpent bearer. This is an interesting but somewhat confusing part of the sky from a constellation perspective. Ophiuchus is holding Serpens, the snake. The constellation of Ophiuchus divides the constellation of Serpens into 2 parts, Serpens cauda below and Serpens caput above. If you recall from episode 25, the great globular cluster M5 is in Serpens caput. We generally now refer to both parts together as just Serpens. Another really interesting fact about Ophiuchus is that it lies right smack in the middle of the ecliptic, the path that the sun and the planets follow in the sky. The sun actually spends more time in Ophiuchus than in its neighboring constellation Libra. It's funny that people touting astrology neglect this huge part of the zodiac and didn't make Ophiuchus the 13th sign. That's about as far as I'll go with that one. So let's get started on our first globular cluster target right after this.
Star hopping target number 1.
Messier 10 is a very nice globular cluster in the center of the constellation of Ophiuchus. It shines at magnitude 6.5 and is about 20 minutes of arc in diameter, which is about 2/3 the size of the full moon, so that's pretty big. It's easily seen in even the smallest of telescopes, and with a little magnification is a very fine object. The star hopping path to get to M10 is a little long, consisting of 6 hops, but none of the stars are faint and they're all brighter than 5th magnitude. So let's go, shall we? We'll be starting on the brightest star in Ophiuchus, Rasselhag, which beams at magnitude 2.1. Now move about 8 degrees to the lower right to 3rd magnitude Sebelrai. Next, we'll slide about 4 degrees to the upper right to 4th magnitude Sigma Ophiuchi. Now move 5 degrees to the right to 4th magnitude 41 Ophiuchi. Okay, just 2 hops left. Move 5 degrees to the right to 30 Ophiuchi, which shines at magnitude 4.7. Now slide just 1 degree to the upper right and you'll see the glow of Messier 10 coming into view. This pretty globular was discovered by the French astronomer Charles Messier on May 29, 1764, when he added it as number 10 in his catalog. William Herschel, using a much larger scope, was able to resolve the cluster into its individual stars and described it as a beautiful cluster of extremely compressed stars. So pop in your high-power eyepiece and see if you can resolve this globular into stars at its core. So now that we've found M10, its close partner in space is an easy hop, skip, and a jump. We'll see it right after this.
Star hopping target number 2.
Messier 12 is a very similar globular to M10, although a little smaller at 60 minutes of arc and slightly fainter, shining at magnitude 7.6. Still an easy target for a small telescope. It's interesting that the brightest stars in M12 only glow at 12th magnitude, but their combined light is 5 magnitudes brighter. If you're still on M10, M12 is easy to find. Move about 3 degrees straight up and you'll find the smaller glow of M12. In dark conditions, this cluster can faintly be seen with a pair of binoculars. The stars of M12 are very loosely packed, and it was thought for a while to be just a dense open cluster. M12 is about 15,700 light years from Earth and has an actual diameter of about 75 light years. So now we're going to jump about 20 degrees to the lower right into the neighboring constellation of Scorpius to see one of my favorite globular clusters, and we'll check that out right after this break.
Star hopping target number 3.
Messier 4 is one of the most interesting globulars in the sky. It lies to the upper right of the massive red supergiant star Antares, the heart of the Scorpion. As compared to our last two targets, M4 is much brighter and larger, shining at magnitude 5.6 and spanning 26 arc minutes, nearly the size of the full moon. Again, it's seen in the smallest of telescopes, although medium-sized scopes will reveal an interesting bar structure going across the center. M4 is another very loose globular, as we saw in our last target. So this is a very simple star hop. Set your sights on Antares, the bright red star in Scorpius. Now move a little over a degree to the upper right, and you'll see the interesting globular M4 grace your eyepiece. M4 is only 7,200 light years away and is the closest globular in the sky. It spans about 75 light years across, and it's estimated to be a little over 12 billion years old. So let's review. So just like the fun we had a couple months ago with all the galaxies that filled our eastern sky, now we're enjoying finding globular clusters. But one major difference is that this type of target is much better suited to those of you with smaller telescopes, as they're generally easily seen with anything 50 millimeter diameter or greater. We started off in the center of the constellation of Ophiuchus, finding the pair of sister globulars M10 and M12. Although it took about 6 hops to get to them, none of the stars were too faint and we arrived safely. Then we moved over to the biggest insect in the sky, Scorpius the Scorpion, and found a beautiful target right beside its red heart of Antares, Messier 4, with its interesting bar structure across its core. There are even more globulars to hunt down in this area. M14 and M107 are both close by, not to mention a host of NGC globulars. We'll be checking them all out in future episodes of Star Hopping. So that does it for this week's episode. You can find the show notes on our website at kpobservatory.org/sh031, where you can comment and leave any questions that you may have. So I mentioned in last week's episode our exciting new video series coming this summer, KPO's European Astronomy Tour. In the 10 installments of the new series, we'll travel around Northern Europe and the UK and check out some of the fantastic astronomical observatories of the present and the past. I've started to work on the series leaders and trailers, and I'd like to share the series leader with you in its world premiere. Check it out. So what do you think? I'm pretty pleased with it. It has kind of an epic quality to it, don't you think? Let me know any feedback you have. I'm obviously really excited about it, and I'd like your opinion. The series will start with this first episode on July 15th, and it'll complete on September 10th. During that time, it'll replace the Star Hopping series, so I'll be presenting lots of future targets for the next 2 months to keep you searching for them amongst the stars throughout the summer. Well, thank you very much for joining me here, and I'll see you next week with more star hopping tips and tricks.
I'm Cassie, and I hope you've enjoyed star hopping around the Milky Way. We'll continue to bring you these video astronomy tutorials every week on Thursday, and in their podcast format on Fridays. They'll be designed to help you find deep sky objects that are up in the sky at the time we post them on the internet. The reason we create these videos and podcasts is to help beginning amateur astronomers learn the sky and get more enjoyment out of their telescopes and astronomy in general. If you have any requests for potential targets in the night sky that you would like to see us discuss, just let us know down in the comments section below or on our website blog. Don't miss our free field notes for this episode, basically the script of the show, with all the images and star charts we use for our star hopping activities. You can get them for free at kpobservatory.org/fieldnotes. If this is the first time you're checking out star hopping, and if you found this video useful, please consider subscribing to our channel by clicking the big yellow button, click the thumbs up on the video, and please share this tutorial out to your friends who like looking at stars. Also, as I just mentioned, please feel free to leave any question or comment below, and we'll be sure to respond quickly. Please follow KPO on Facebook, where we post all of our astronomical digital images, and keep everyone informed about upcoming astronomical events. We'd love to hear from you to discuss all this great stuff up in the sky. All the links to these places in cyberspace, including our website, kpobservatory.org, can be found below in the episode notes as well. And finally, if you feel this video provides you value, and if you'd like to see more, please consider supporting us on Patreon, where for a small amount per video, you can support our efforts, and help us make even more great astronomy tutorials, just like this one. So bye for now, and thank you for watching, and we'll see you next time on Star Hopping with Kissimmee Park Observatory.